Hey guys, my name is Matimeo, and today I want to take a look at Insurgency's new World War II mod, Day of Infamy. I will fully admit the first time that I learned that the developers were going to be creating something along these lines, I got a little bit too excited. Not only just because I adore Insurgency, I absolutely love the game, but I've also been clamoring for a really long time now just for more amazing World War II first-person shooters. And while it is in the early stages, you guys are going to notice that a lot of the environments look a little unpolished. It doesn't look like the normal game, and that's because it's not. A lot of the stuff that they're using here is just placeholders, but at its core, this is an amazing mod so far, and I cannot wait to see where things head. One thing that I've always loved about Insurgency is that while it is an indie first-person shooter, it's never seemed to play like one, at least with relation to its combat and its gameplay. It's not a looker, I will say that. It's not the best looking first-person shooter out in the market, but maybe it's just simply because I've been playing a lot of other indie shooters lately, that every time I go back and play Insurgency, it's made me appreciate the combat even more. And so now that we're in this World War II setting, it basically has those same mechanics, but changes the way that you have to use the weapons, because no longer are you using automatic weapons, but now you're using more bolt-action rifles and semi-automatic rifles. And so I think it's for this very reason why I have been enjoying the mod as much as I have. We have been getting an absurd amount of modern military shooters lately. I mean, you guys can attest to this. And to finally go back and play in this World War II setting with a shooter that I've always appreciated because of its core mechanics, having that slightly different gameplay has just been very fresh for me. Another thing I've really enjoyed are the maps and the game modes that they have available. Admittedly, there are not a lot of maps to choose from. They've got maybe like 2 or 3 so far, but the one that I'm enjoying most is essentially D-Day. If you are on the offensive team, if you're playing as the US faction, you are pretty much storming the beaches of Normandy and trying to take over the bunkers. If you guys have played Rush or if you've played Push in Insurgency, you're gonna feel right at home here. The cool thing about it though is they've also added in a new game mode called Invasion. Insurgency has always been a shooter that has taken things much slower, and pretty much every game mode, if you die, you're gonna be out for a couple of minutes, or if you're playing Push, that's probably the fastest paced game mode, it's gonna take maybe 30 seconds for you to get back into the action and spawn back on in. That is just simply not the case with Invasion. If you've always been someone who has been turned off by Insurgency's long spawn times, I highly recommend that you try out this new game mode because they get you right back into the action very quickly. The result of this is constant action, and it actually feels like you're on these beaches, you're in these bunkers, trying to hold off an invading force. I mean, pretty much that's the reason why it's called Invasion, and it feels like you are holding off an invasion. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And while once again, it clearly is in the beta phase, they are gonna have to adjust and tweak the map to make sure it's well balanced, but just by playing this a couple of rounds, you can really get a grasp of what they're going for with this World War II mod. Invasion is really cool. I hear that they're gonna try to bump up the player count to something like 50, so it's gonna be more like a Battlefield game, and imagining 25 versus 25 on a beach or storming maybe a city or something along those lines sounds incredible. And so while we're gonna have to wait and see what they do with it because it is in the beta phase, just what we've gotten so far, Invasion has really impressed me on what they're trying to go for. One thing that could be a double-edged sword with this mod, though, is that the developers are having the community do everything from here on out. They've laid the groundwork, they've created kind of their vision of what they want this World War II mod to encompass, but from here on out, if you want new maps, if you want new weapons, you want new sounds, new assets, new environments, then the community has to create that, and then they can submit it to the developers to create it, make sure that it's at least polished and that it's acceptable, and then we will get that into the game. And so the reason why I say this could be a double-edged sword is that on the one hand, we got limitless possibilities. If the community wants to create an iconic battle during World War II, they want to recreate that, they can do so. They want to add in different factions that aren't in the game yet. They want to add in voice acting, iconic weapons, whatever they want, as long as the developers approve of it, it's going to be added into the mod. The The problem with this, though, is that it is entirely dependent on the modding community to create this content. We don't have any guarantee that this mod is going to go anywhere. If no one is interested in creating maps or anything like that, the mod is gonna die very quickly. And so I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers because I want more of this. I'm loving the beta. I'm loving what it has right now, but it could basically die in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months because no one has the time or they don't want to put the effort in because they're pretty much working for free. They're creating an aspect, a part of Insurgency that they're not getting paid for. And while I know the developers have talked about maybe adding in some way of funding or monetizing it so that they can give back to the community who has worked on these mods, at least right now, they're going to be working for free, and so it's going to just have to be from people who love to create mods and want to expand upon this universe. And so while I have a lot of high hopes for it, it could backfire right in their face. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Give me your thoughts on Day of Infamy. Are you liking what you're seeing so far? Are you a little disappointed? Do you not like the direction that they're taking? Let me know down below. But yep, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.